Hi, and welcome everybody to my YouTube sports betting channel. I'm Ross Benjamin. As always, on a Monday, I'm joined by that handsome gentleman on the other side of me, the guy from DocSports.com, one of the best handicappers in the country, Mr. Doug Upstone. Doug, how was your weekend, buddy?
My weekend was great, Ross. You said handsome gentleman, though. It kind of threw me off. I was looking around who was in the room. I wasn't sure who was here.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, I know you always like this, so I thought I'd give it to you. Okay, I got a weather report for you. Now, normally we're at 92, okay, right now, but tonight and then tomorrow's high is supposed to be 70. Okay?
Wow.
So we have a big cold front coming through. It's supposed to be windy and everything else. And so I got my parkas all lined up, okay, for indoors and outdoors, along with heavy winter jackets for 70 degrees. And so, yeah, I mean, that's our normal temperature, like on December 10th.
How about that? And you know what? In Western New York today, the high is going to be 77.
Well,
So
there you go.
And all the heat I take from everybody in my industry here, not so much from Doug, about living in the great white north and what are you doing living up there? Hey, it's home, man. And it's very rare that I get to brag that our temperature is higher than that in Arizona. You know what? I believe what you're saying always, okay? But it doesn't surprise me because we're recording on Monday the 11th. Handicapping that Dodgers-Giants game tonight, game 3 of that NLDS. Winds blowing in from left center field at Dodger Stadium, 17 to 18 miles an hour, Doug, which is a rarity in LA, correct?
Absolutely is. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just this whole thing. It's, it's how we typically get, let's just say, cool weather. It comes in basically Canada and state of Washington, comes all the way down, and it goes literally almost right down the coastline, comes around here, sweeps around Arizona, and then heads towards the Midwest. I mean, that's just the typical pattern for wintertime around here.
Okay, so folks didn't tune in to hear two meteorologists. They tuned in to hear two sports handicappers, specifically college football sports handicappers. We're going to take a look at a game on Friday and a game on Saturday in college football. And before we get to that, though, Doug, Alabama gets knocked off last week, the number 1 team in the land, and throws that top 4, top 10 whole scenario into a tizzy. So I think it's great for college football. You know what I mean? If we can get those teams like Alabama and Clemson out, which Clemson's definitely going to be out of the playoff, it gives somebody else a chance, and something to look forward to, except for the same old all the time.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, the other thing, too, that occurred with that game, I literally read an article just before I came on with you here, Ross, and it talked about that it was a huge winning day. In fact, for the sports books across the world, it was their biggest win of the season in college football, because not only did it take down Alabama just in general with so much money, but it also destroyed all the parlays, all the teasers, and everything else related with that. And there was something that I did not know, that a lot of people have wanted to bet Alabama, but their spreads are always so high. So they've been taking this year, and I guess last year too, a lot of first half action. And so that got whipped. And in fact, what I had read said that there was nearly as many bets on the first half for Alabama as there was the entire game.
Wow.
So the sports books absolutely cleaned up on that game. And we have let's just say, seems to be a shift in college football. I'm not saying Alabama is not going to make it to the Final Four. They'll have a chance, but they're probably going to have to beat Georgia in order to do it. Yeah. And so that'll it's fun. I don't know how else to put it. It's just, I think it makes the sport a whole lot more fun, a lot more interesting.
Georgia's in a good spot, because if they win out and they have to play Alabama in the SEC title game, they are in opposite divisions, if I'm not mistaken. Then if they lose that game, how could you leave them out? So again, we're looking at that type of scenario. There's a lot of football yet to be played. Cincinnati moves up to number 3, Iowa number 2. But bad break for anybody who took Penn State when they lost their starting quarterback Clifford. In Texas A&M, I could see why the general public jumped all over them because they have a short memory. Texas A&M was a top 10 team, and then they lost 2 games in a row heading into that Alabama contest and playing with a backup quarterback that did not show he could do what he did on Saturday. He played a terrific game, Doug.
Yeah. So, absolutely. That was great. It was just, well, the whole day, Ross, let's face it. I mean, I know we talked a little bit on Twitter back and forth. I mean, the Mississippi, Arkansas game was fantastic. Texas and Oklahoma was beyond belief. I mean, it was just a great college football Saturday, certainly one of the best in memory. And so, here we go, ready to do it up yet again.
Yeah, I love that quarterback from Mississippi, Matt Corral. Not so much just looking at his specifics, but his leadership skills. He plays with a lot of moxie. He's plays with a lot of fire, and he's only 6 foot tall, Doug, my type of guy. I don't know if it's probably a small chance he's going to be an NFL quarterback someday. He'll get a chance. And, Drew Brees was 6 foot tall. Doug Flutie did it as well, but those are rare. But enjoy his time while he's there, Mississippi fans, because he's one exciting player to watch. In any event, let's get to our free picks, Doug. Clemson at Syracuse on Friday night. The Orange coming off 2 heartbreaking losses. And Clemson is not the Clemson of old. So what do you got for us on that game?
Yeah, that's going to be the early game on ESPN on Friday night. And, Clemson's coming off a bye week to try and fix some of their offensive problems. And boy, do they have a lot of problems to fix. If you subtract, Ross, the 49 points they scored against South Carolina State, right now, Clemson is averaging 14.2 points per game in their other 4 games. Okay. Dabo Swinney's team is 84th in rushing yards per game. They're 114th in passing yards in the nation. Okay. The offensive line is not only below average by Clemson standards, it's below average by ACC standards. So it's a team lacking in playmakers. The offensive line's no good. And it puts a tremendous amount of pressure on what is still a very good defense. But when you're always, 3 and outs, getting on short fields, no defense, or seldom does a defense, continue to hold up. Now, you mentioned Syracuse. Syracuse, I mean, they should have beaten Wake Forest, and they should have been an undefeated Wake Forest team last week going to overtime. I had them against Florida State. Now, they end up losing that game, but I had them +5. And I really like this Garrett Schrader. Yeah. Okay. I know you've seen him too. He's an excellent runner. Okay. He's got 6'4", 230 pounds, got those long strides when he can, I guess maybe it reminds me, now that I think of it, a little bit like when Colin Kaepernick played. Okay.
Yeah. He seems to me like, a former SU quarterback, Eric Dungy. Okay. Sizable guy, runs with physicality. Below average passer, but still highly effective. Anyway, go ahead, Doug.
Yeah. So I really like, what they're doing now. They're 11th in the nation in rushing, and their defense. The reason that they've gone from a 1-10 team from a year ago is that their defense has made strides. Now, right now, they're giving up 24 points per game, and those are against the number of points allowed is versus team or against teams that have averaged 28.5 points per game. So they're certainly doing their job. Now, the last 2 years, Clemson has absolutely crushed the Qs, okay, just murdered them. But the 2 prior years in 2017 and 2018, the Tigers lost at the Carrier Dome. Okay. And then the following year in Death Valley, they only lost by 4. And in both of those games, Syracuse was a 23 or a bigger point underdog. I think with the Tiger struggles, Syracuse almost beating Wake Forest in overtime and being 7-0 against the spread against teams that allow 17 or fewer points, Ross, at 14 points for Syracuse, and that's the minimum right now. It's probably going to be 14 to 15 is my guess. I'll take the points and say the Orange lose, but by single digits in this one.
Yeah, they'll take it down to the wire. Here's the thing. I think they're a better offense with Garrett Schrader. Let's not forget, folks, if you haven't followed Syracuse, so I shouldn't say let's not forget. If you haven't followed Syracuse, You don't know that Garrett Schrader just took over as quarterback for Syracuse as their full-time starter 3 games ago when they upset Liberty at home. And then the game at Florida State that Doug touched upon, they lost that game on the final play of regulation time. A guy kicked a field goal for Florida State, beats them by 3. And then last week, like Doug again touched upon, they lose to nationally ranked number 16 Wake Forest, undefeated, and they take them down to the wire and lose by 3 in OT. So this is a team that's really been improving week by week. Now, Clemson, boy, oh boy, you're right, Doug. And you brought up those 2 games that they lost to Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. By the way, that was a Friday night game, ESPN as well. And the game they won to beat Syracuse, I think they won the national championship that year, is when Syracuse knocked Trevor Lawrence out of the game. And Clemson needed a last-minute touchdown to beat them. So, yeah, I mean, I like this game to go down to the wire. I like the dog here as well, Doug. So let me go to my game now that we touched upon that contest, which I really look forward to. Fresno State at Wyoming. A little bit off the cuff here, but you know what? Fresno State's got to be smarting, Doug. Here's a team that took Oregon, number 9 Oregon, down to the wire, actually entered the 4th quarter of that game, and it was tied. And they lose by 7 at Oregon as a 20-point underdog, easily covering. Then the following week, they go to UCLA, and they upset the Bruins at UCLA. And then they laid an egg a little bit against UNLV, but still came away with a win. And then here's the thing. 2 weeks ago, they play at Hawaii. And I told Chip Chirimbus, who I did a show with at that particular moment of time, why is Fresno just a 10-point favorite on the road against Hawaii? That doesn't make sense to me. And lo and behold, guess what? Hawaii upset them. They had a week off to think about that. This is a Fresno team that's obviously played a tougher schedule than Wyoming. I say obviously. Why? Well, Wyoming is 4-1. They're coming off their first loss of the season, and it came at Air Force by 14 points last week. But 3 or 4 wins, Doug. Montana State by 3. Montana State plays at the FCS level. Ball State in overtime by 7. And then UConn, University of Connecticut, who's, if I'm not mistaken, winless. Okay, they lost to UMass last week. That's how bad they are. They only beat them 24-22. That's the same UConn team that opened the season at Fresno, and Fresno walloped them 45-0. I really like this Fresno State quarterback, Jake Haener. Tremendous, Doug. I mean, he's a guy that not a lot of people know about because he plays in a smaller conference. But what I really liked about him is he stepped up his game against Pac-12 competition. It was crucial in the upset against UCLA and giving Oregon all they could handle. 2,230 yards passing in 6 games. That's about 396 yards a game, 18 touchdowns against 6 interceptions, also ran 3 times for a score. They're on the road. They're laying 4, and I'm willing to lay to 4. I think Fresno State, off that loss against Hawaii with a week of rest against a Wyoming team that really hasn't beaten anybody, I'm going to take Fresno State here, -4 over Wyoming. And Doug Upstone, he likes the Syracuse Orange plus the 14.5 against Clemson. Doug, any final thoughts before we go? What do you got going on at DocSports.com? How you been doing of late?
Well, Ross, we just keep it rolling. I mean, that's all I can say. 25-14 of the last 5 weeks in football, coming off a 6-3 week, highlighted by your Buffalo Bills doing just dismantling Kansas City completely. Super impressive. That was my top play of the weekend. So that was excellent. 14-4 in the NFL after 5 weeks. So wow, that has gone along just swimmingly as well. So yeah. So Ross, we're just getting it done. Okay, plain and simple that way. And I know you brought up baseball. I think it was last Monday as well. And so, 4-2 in the playoffs. As we did the show, had my White Sox Houston game rained out on Monday. But you know what? We'll pick it up. We got Tuesday, Wednesday, and who knows what else or when it comes back in. So yeah, so it's a fun time, Ross. I'm having a great time. Docs members that have signed up with me are having a great time. Just try and keep the winning going.
Hey, and the NHL starts on Wednesday?
Right.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Tuesday, actually.
Tuesday, okay.
Yes,
Doug's an NHL guy, right, Doug? Tell him a little bit about your NHL picks. Folks,
Yes.
Even if you don't like hockey, you don't have to watch the games to win, okay? To make money. Tell them, Doug.
Absolutely. No, we get to see on Tuesday night, we get to see the new Seattle Kraken. Okay, the new expansion team. They're playing Vegas. They're a 250 or a 220, I think, underdog, which of course makes a lot of sense with an expansion team. But no, with hockey, Ross, there's a number of different things that you need to do in order to be successful. But you don't have to watch all the games. Okay, there's a few things to keep track of, and if you don't have the time to do that, and with all these sports converging, we got the NBA starting next week. With all these sports converging, that's what guys like myself do. We watch enough of the games. We really follow the numbers, follow the most important aspects as to how to beat the books in hockey. And that's exactly what my job is. Now, I haven't done quite as well, I'll be honest, in the last couple of years as I did a few years ago, because I was a 3-time handicapping champion at 2 different monitors from 2013 to 2015. Finished in the top 10, I think, in 2018. So it's just, there's been alterations in the rules that have adjusted things. And like everybody, you have to keep up with what's going on. So I made some changes for this upcoming season and really looking forward to it, Ross.
Yeah, me too. Big Western New York is huge for hockey here. So I'm a big Buffalo Sabres fan.
I was about to say, I'm sorry to hear that.
Just terrible. And this whole episode with Jack Eichel and all that stuff, it's just it's not good here, Doug. Nope. And it's too bad because it's a hockey crazed area. And the Kraken, opening up on Tuesday night. Let's not forget the last expansion team in their first year was the Las Vegas Golden Knights, and they advanced to the Stanley Cup Finals that year, losing in 6 games. Anyway, my Major League Baseball plays 17-11 with my last 28. That's good for 61%. My Major League Baseball top plays on the season, 39-19, folks. That's around 66%. And dime players have made a lot of money with me in Major League Baseball top plays, somewhere around $18,000 for the year. So you want to keep an eye on that in the Major League Baseball playoffs that are upon us. And Doug, look forward to speaking to you on Thursday when we do our NFL show. Again, if you missed our picks, Doug likes the Clemson Tigers. The Syracuse Orange plus the 14.5 over the Clemson Tigers on Friday evening. Yours truly likes the Fresno State Bulldogs lay the 4 at Wyoming. And folks, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, it's absolutely free to do so. And while you're there, make sure you hit that notification bell and you'll be notified immediately upon any of our sports betting videos going up on this channel. Great handicappers, Doug Upstone, Craig Trapp, yours truly, Chip Chirimbus, guys who've been around the block a time or two. So in any event, until the next time, folks, good luck and God bless.